Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, I'll be doing a case review, and this was actually an audience suggestion. So, you know him. Sometimes you tolerate him when he comes in the chat. Usually doesn't say hi first, but that's all right. We love him. Sam Smith. So Sam Smith is the one that actually suggested this case. And it is the case of Tyler Peterson. And I'm really excited to talk about it with you guys. In all honesty, this was a case that I didn't know. And then as I was doing the research, I'm just wondering how I missed this, how it didn't get on my radar when it happened. But this may be a case that you guys already know. So by all means, put in the chat if this is a case that you are familiar with, or if you're just going to be kind of hearing about it for the first time. So we are also live tonight, a different night than usual. Usually on Tuesday nights, I have dance practice, but this week there are no classes. So I was able to do a show tonight. And then also later this week, if you're in the States, is Thanksgiving week. So that puts a kind of a little bit of a whole wrench in the schedule for the shows. So I did want to make sure I did a case review for you guys. So again, I know this is a little bit different. Some of you guys might not be around because this is not ordinarily a night I do a show, but nonetheless, we are here. So let's see who's here before we kind of dive into this case. Tony Stewart, currently watching Moonshiners. Hello, everyone. Well, hello, Tony Stewart. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're enjoying. I can't even talk tonight. Hope you're enjoying Moonshiners. It's weird because it's one of those holiday weeks. So it's going to be a short work week. But even though it's the beginning of the week, I'm like, okay, it feels like a Thursday evening. It just feels like I've worked a long week, even though I really haven't. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. Let's see. Hello, Kane. Welcome. Renee, good to see you. Chris James. Danny. Okay, I finally did it. I started writing last week. Oh, that is amazing. Oh my God, Renee, that is amazing. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. And I can tell, but based on your wording, that you seem really excited about it. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for the world to be able to read what you put out, because Lord knows you have a story or two to tell. Hi, Doe Beauty. Welcome. James Watson. Hello. Different words or the same one? Hey, K-Dog. Oh, well, now, Tony, I have your undivided attention. That is even better. Hi, Tony L. That is a very nice comment for everybody. Thank you. Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. So, again, we will be covering Tyler Peterson, and this was a suggestion by Sam Smith. So please, you guys, put in the chat if this is a case that you have heard of or if it's brand new for you guys. You know what, Tony Stewart? Tonight I feel me and you were on the completely same wavelength. I can barely talk without butchering a word tonight, and you're having trouble spelling. So between the two of us, I think we're solid. I think we just are solid. So, all right, y'all, let's dive into this case. So, October 7th, 2007, friends were gathered at a house party to celebrate homecoming, to hang out, and to just overall have a good time. No one could have imagined that this social gathering would later turn into 7 of the party's attendees being shot. What made this shooting different than so many others is that the shooter was a part-time officer at the Crandon Police Department and a full-time deputy in the Forest County Sheriff's Department. So before we dive into what happened that night, October 7th, 2007, let's rewind and take a look back at what might have led to the events that occurred that night. James Watson, what is this? Danny, what the hell are you wearing? It's called leopard. It's called leopard print. That's not the same print, K-Dog. Oh my God. K-Dog, what an entrance. What an entrance. You guys are too funny. Y'all are not giving me any slack on my wardrobe the past couple of episodes, I must say. So maybe I need to start taking fashion advice from Paul or Mr. Beckham. Maybe that would be more helpful. I don't know. Thank you, Don't Like Beauty. Thank you. See, thank you. That is very kind. All right. Now, before we get into a fashion show between K-Dog and James, and let's get back into it. So, who is Tyler Peterson? He was born on March 6th, 1987. Upon graduating high school in 2005, he attended Nicollet College. He would go on to earn a degree in criminal justice. His friends and family would say he enjoyed the outdoors. A lot of activities he would do, such as hunting, fishing, trapping, skiing, and snowmobiling. Tyler also loved animals, and he owned several dogs. His professional career was also at this time beginning to flourish. Now, September 11th, 2006, Tyler was hired as a full-time deputy sheriff. He was only 19 years old. He also obtained a job as a part-time officer for the Crandon Police Department. Now, Sunday, October 7th, 2007, it was just like any other night. Again, friends were gathered at a house party to celebrate homecoming. Here is where we're going to review the events that night. And actually, we're going to review it by the specific minute. So before we jump into that, a few new people in the chat. Hey, Allison, good to see you. No, you're not late. You are right on time, girl. So a concert shirt, chain wallet, my fashion. All right. Oh, your fashion, Tony. Got you. At first I thought you were making a suggestion. Okay. Gotcha. So what happened that night? Let's completely break it down because we do have that information. At 12 o'clock a.m., Tyler drops off two friends. Around 2:30 a.m., Tyler arrived at a duplex, 201 North Hazeldale Avenue, Apartment B in Crandon. Tyler and Jordan Murray, his ex-girlfriend, also began to all have an argument. Tyler had accused Jordan of having a relationship with another guy. Jordan demanded that he leave the duplex. So again, remember these names. We've already been introduced to Tyler. So Jordan Murray, who was his ex-girlfriend. At 2:43 a.m., Tyler left the duplex. He then went to retrieve a police AR-15 rifle. At 2:47 a.m., Crandon police officer Greg Carter reported that through dispatch, that there were gunshots that were heard. At 2:48 a.m., Tyler emerged from the duplex and started shooting at Officer Carter, hitting the squad's car windshield. At 2:51 a.m., gunshots are now being reported by somebody inside of the duplex. At 2:53 a.m., first responders are paged to the duplex. At 2:55 a.m., a dispatcher tells police that the shooter is at 201 North Hazeldale Avenue. At 3 o'clock a.m., Tyler left the duplex and started driving to see his brother. So, just to break this down, so 2:30 a.m. is when Tyler arrives at the duplex, gets in an argument with his ex-girlfriend, and within that 30 minutes, exactly 30 minutes, he left, retrieved his weapon, came back, shots were fired, and all of those calls were placed. And at this point, again, 3 o'clock a.m., so just 30 minutes later, he leaves to drive to see his brother. At 3:01 a.m., paramedics arrive at the duplex, so they missed Tyler by 1 minute. Police now would not be able to communicate over police radio as they knew Tyler had access in his truck. This we knew. At 3:09 a.m., Forest County deputy leaves a message on Tyler's cell phone requesting a return call. At 3:10 a.m., Chief Deputy I'm probably going to butcher this name, Ken Van Cleve of the Forest County Sheriff's Department also leaves a message on Tyler's cell phone requesting that he meet or call him. Meanwhile, Tyler, he is driving around aimlessly around Lincoln, Forest and Langdale, I think that's how it's pronounced, which are counties in northern Wisconsin. Tyler does have the wherewithal to know that police are trying to locate him. So he is proactively actually calling in false reports of his location in an attempt to get law enforcement to really not be able to locate where he is at the present time. At 4:20 a.m., local police agencies request help from the State Department of Justice's Division of Criminal Investigation. At 4:30 a.m., DCI staff members head towards the duplex. In total, 18 agencies would respond for the plea for locating Tyler. Finally, at 5:13 a.m., Tyler communicates to authorities, and he states that there is, quote, no taking back what he did, end quote. 7:50 a.m., Tyler goes to a cabin in Argonne where his friends are. He tells his friends what he just did. He also tells his friends that he will turn himself in to Crandon police. Tyler gives that AR-15 weapon to one of his friends who would go on and put it on the porch, actually on a porch swing to be specific. At 8:30 a.m., Tyler left the cabin to go meet with his family members. At 9:15 a.m., Tyler actually comes back to the cabin where his friends are. One of the friends sneaks out, leaves the cabin, and calls 911. Meanwhile, his friends notice that Tyler is actually still armed, and he has a pistol on his hip. At 9:40 a.m., Steve Peterson, Tyler's father, tries to call him, but the call goes straight to voicemail. 9:56 a.m., Tyler made the first of 2 calls to the Forest County Sheriff. 12:31 p.m., Tyler was located by police in a cabin, the one with his friends, and it's 8 miles away from where the crime occurred. Let's take a quick pause and see where you guys are in the chat. I just threw a lot of information at you guys. So let's see. James Watson, I tried looking this case up, but all I could find was some guy named Tyler Peterson in Alberta who was murdered. Interesting, because when I search the name, so when I search it, somebody comes up for, like when I do it on Google, at first it was, I think it was like a professor or something. And I'm like, where's the person I'm looking for? So I actually had to like do different keywords to get exactly who I was looking for. So that's interesting that where you are, that's what comes up, James. Well, thank you, Tony Stewart. Let's see. Kane says, happy Thanksgiving, everyone, as well. Let's see. James says, I don't know why Americans don't just come. Oh, not every year is it so close. Thanksgiving is late this year, which makes it actually very stressful because everything is so much closer. But yeah, I see where you guys are. Because you guys in Canada, your Thanksgiving is very early compared to ours. Yeah, you guys is in October. Keen vegetarian. Nice lifestyle. That is not bad. I approve. Okay, you guys are just kind of talking about Thanksgiving. K-Dog. All of this because of a fight with his woman, with his ex-girlfriend who asked him to leave. That's what we know. That's what we know so far. There's still more to say. But yes, as of now, it was that sparked what happened. But again, still a little bit more to go over. So where we are is the police have now been able to locate where Tyler is, but also that one friend did step outside to call 911, which was the absolute right thing to do. So when police arrived, Tyler walked hurriedly into the woods near the cabin. A sniper fired just before he vanished from sight. Police then heard 3 gunshots from the direction that Tyler went to. A tactical team rushed towards the woods, yelling for Tyler to surrender. However, he would not, because they found him lying on his back in the tall grass. He had 3 self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the head. Now, what do we know and what don't we know yet about the destruction that had occurred? Because again, he covered a lot of ground and had started shooting at that party. So it was about 4:00 p.m. that day that police released the names of the shooting victims. In all, 30 rounds were fired, and there were 6 that died from the shooting. Earlier, I mentioned 7 being Tyler. So let's go back to the party of who was killed. So Jordan Murray, again, his ex-girlfriend, she was only 18 years old. Katrina Lee McCorkle, she was only 18 years old. Liana Faye Thomas, 17 years old. Bradley Stephen Schultz, 20 years old. Aaron Edward Smith, 20 years old. And Lindsay Lou Stahl, only 14 years old. So Charles Neitzel, he played dead after being shot 3 times. So he would actually survive the shooting. Although because of the shots he took, he would be critically injured. All 7 of the victims were either students or recent graduates of Crandon High School. Again, they range from 14 to 20 years old. This shooting led to a lot of discussion and a lot of aftermath of people trying to figure out what happened. And there were also a lot of questions about Tyler's mental state. So the person that can actually provide the most accurate information as to what happened that night is Charles Neitzel. Again, he's the one person who survived the shooting. I want that to sink in. He's the only one, because he had the wherewithal to just play dead. So Charles would say that Tyler had been violent since 5th grade. He would beat up his cousin and would actually throw rocks at them. Tyler once even choked Charles in the 6th grade. However, come 7th and 8th grade, Tyler calmed down and he stopped being so violent. Charles was actually surprised that Tyler became a police officer because he often shot deer out of season, which was a big violation of gaming laws. In regards to Tyler's relationship with Jordan, again, the ex-girlfriend that he had the altercation with, the argument, who told him to leave the party initially, Charles said that Tyler was extremely controlling of Jordan. Tyler had actually pushed Jordan around frequently. And after Tyler had been stalking her for 2 weeks prior to the shooting, that again led to the night of the party and what had happened. Tyler, to put it very basically, was obsessed with Jordan. The night of the shooting, Tyler arrived at that duplex, as we discussed. He had arrived after a night of drinking. He saw Jordan snuggling with Aaron Smith. Katrina McCorkle tried to get Tyler to leave, but he punched her and shoved Jordan over a couch. So I know you guys asked earlier, K-Dogs, right there, was all of this because of a fight with his woman? That started it, but again, now we're getting more information from Charles, who survived the shooting. So we're getting a little bit more context. And I think that one note is key. Again, Tyler arrived and he saw Jordan snuggling with Aaron Smith. So, especially being somebody as controlling as he was or reported to be, something like that, if somebody's a ticking time bomb, it just takes that one thing to push them over the edge. And it sounds like, from what Charles observed, that was that. Let's see. Hi, PJ. Welcome. Hey, Troy. He poached Bambi. Oh, let's see. Awesome. Hey, Wolf. I'm going to give you a star for that. That is awesome. I'm so glad you like them. I have one too. I haven't used it yet. I'm kind of working my way through all of the, mugs, and especially now where it's cold out, just these are like perfect for like tea and stuff like that, hot tea. But I'm so glad you like them. That's awesome. Thank you. So we talked about what happened from that in regards to Charles's information of who fought with who, which is basically Tyler with everybody. So another one of Tyler's longtime friends would actually go on to say that Tyler came to his door only hours after the shooting, and he was calm. He calmly explained what he did. Quote, he wasn't running around crazy or anything. He was very, very sorry for what he did, end quote. Scranton Police Chief John Denny said that Tyler had met the state requirements to be a police officer and said that, quote, we had no indication, end quote, that he would exact murderous revenge. No psychological screening was performed in his hiring, end quote. Tyler's family, they were shocked at the shooting. And through a local pastor, they read a statement, quote, our hearts go out to the victims, their families, and their friends. We are grieving for your losses. We feel a tremendous amount of guilt and shame for the acts Tyler committed, end quote. The statement also reads, quote, we may never receive the answers we all seek. Like those close to Tyler, we are in shock and disbelief that he would do such terrible things. This was not the Tyler we know and loved, end quote. That is the case of Tyler Peterson. Thank you again to Sam Smith for recommending this case. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, I think there's a lot to discuss in regards to the events that happened that night, as well as his profession. We don't see that in a lot of these types of crimes. And for me, what stood out was and I'm going to locate it right now, Scranton Police Chief John Denny. His comments, I think, really were the ones that impacted me the most in regards to reading about this case, because obviously every state does things differently in their hiring process when someone is going for law enforcement. But here, when John Denny is saying that Tyler met the state requirements to be a police officer and that they had no indication that he was going to commit this crime, I understand that statement. I understand that statement. However, when they go on to say that no psychological screening was performed in his hiring, I wanted more information. I wanted to know, was this usually done and it wasn't done in Tyler's case, or is this just not a requirement? And I want to kind of really look into the words of what somebody's saying. There's, what their intent is, but I'm thinking, well, when someone chooses the words that they do, it's usually for a reason. So they might be trying to say one thing, but your words that you picked say otherwise. So for me, again, it was, why was there no psychological screening done? Why is that not done just for this profession as it is? This is a very stressful position. You're giving, and again, he got this job at 19 years old. You're giving somebody, and to me, age is regardless whether they're 35 going for this job or 19 going for this job. To me, there should be a psychological screening because, again, you're giving them weapons. You're making them armed with very, very, a lot of power, a lot of position in the means if there was a break. And I know not all of the time that can be predicted, but think about it. He was hired at 19. He's not going to have, for the most part, a long criminal rap sheet where they go to look to see, has he committed any crimes where that would prevent him from getting the job. That's not really going to be there for a 19-year-old who's been kind of just going through school, doing the right things, so on and so forth. But I hope they change their policy. I really do. And again, I know this, we're talking about a specific state here, but that just really stood out to me. I'm thinking, if there was a psychological screening done in advance, could that have prevented him from getting this job, which would have prevented him from having a lot of the means to commit the crime that he did? Then again, we look at, he's a hunter. So he does have some weapons. And he also would hunt off season. So again, there's somebody that you hired who's already kind of breaking the laws that their area puts in place. So I don't know. It didn't really sit well with me, but I know hindsight's always 2020. But again, what do you guys take away from this? That's my takeaway. Let's see. Wolf says, in regards to the pup glasses, awesome. Jealousy can lead to insanity. That is excellent, Wolf. That's an excellent point. And it wasn't just jealousy from what we're learning. It was actually like controlling and obsession. There was a lot to this. And when someone breaks up with you and now you've lost control. Two, the person that you were in an abusive relationship with, that you had that power and control over, is now with somebody else in one way or another. Again, she was snuggling with Aaron Smith that night. And then, all hell broke loose. And Katrina, who was trying to get Tyler to leave, who wasn't even part of that, again, she got punched. Tyler punched her, which, completely inappropriate. But, based on the events that happened that we learned, once he went downhill, it just seemed like it was a snowball effect with all of his actions. Renee says, I'm not shocked. A lot of cops lose it when they are evaluated. Renee, they gave me an M16 at 18 without a psych evaluation. It crossed my mind that someone at the range could kill us all. That is so scary. I find that absolutely terrifying, Renee, to be completely honest. Because your second sentence in that is completely spot on. That's where my mind goes to as well. There are people that can be trusted, but not everybody can, and you're arming them. That is very scary. Hey, Capone, good to see you. James Watson, our Canadian expert. I assumed all Americans had an M16 by their 12th birthday. You need to stop listening to Beckham. That's what it is. You need to stop listening to Mr. Beckham. Life in Texas for him is very different than the other states here in the US, but it is what it is. Hi, Todd. Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. So, let's see. Wolf is saying, Renee, guns are so intense. It is surprising how much potential or how much damage one person can have in their. Absolutely. That is spot on. Absolutely. Allison, different state here. I live in New Hampshire, and all you need is a driver's license to purchase a firearm. Well, I know. So we're kind of going on two different planes here, but it's all relevant. It's the ability to obtain a weapon, but also putting somebody in a law enforcement position. In my opinion here, where there were red flags, you're arming them, and you're giving somebody, especially with what we know about Tyler. Again, thank goodness Charles he survived, so he could give the insight into what happened. That, you have Tyler, who's in a law enforcement position in basically two different forms. For his employment, he is armed because that is what the job entails. He is controlling. He is abusive. He, as Wolf said, he's obsessed. He is obsessed with his ex. There's just too much here that there's just too many powerful elements at play that something's going to give. And unfortunately, it did in this case. And again, the damage that he caused because of that controlling, that, possessiveness, 30 rounds fired. That's not just somebody who is angry at, not that any act of violence towards his ex-girlfriend Jordan would be warranted, none at all, but this was far beyond what was his anger towards just her. 30 rounds fired. Everybody there was murdered, again, except Charles, who had the wherewithal to play dead. Otherwise, he'd be another victim. I mean, he is another victim in the sense that he's now physically disabled the rest of his life, as well as the emotional impact that's going to have. He's never going to get over that. So he is a big time victim in this too, because this is going to come with a whole slew of mental and physical issues that he'll need to, say work on. But I feel like that's going to be a lifelong thing. That it's just so tragic and so horrific and so unnecessary. Let's see what you guys are saying. I wrote a whole chapter about something like that. There's a lot to that, Renee, so I'm really glad you did. Break it all down. Maybe schools could have a class that would have a dialogue about the issues people have with relationships and ways to deal with them. Many of these kids will have their first relationship soon. That is a good point in regards to what you're saying. Schools, teaching what is a healthy relationship, what is not a healthy relationship. Very good point, K-Dog. Well, the safety for the semi-automatic that I have is in the grip. Once it is in your hand, it is legit. 12-round magazine. Wow. My kids were all at the gun range with me. They know gun safety and was never irresponsible. They are 38 and 40. Yeah, it's, again, Renee, it kind of goes back to that not everybody whose hands get on, these weapons are going to go on to commit what Tyler Peterson did. There are very responsible and very, psychologically responsible people who do go on to become law enforcement and, have possession of these weapons. And then there's the few that just skate in because, again, in this case, there was no prior history of anything. There was no psych evaluation to obtain the job. So he just kind of flew under the radar. Schools teach too much nowadays about personal things. I am long out of the school game, James Watson, so I don't even know what is being taught. Let's see. Tiger Prince. Jesus Christ. Bare bones sex ed, that's the basics reading. So, I mean, I don't know what schools are like where you are, James. I know here, and actually if you guys are in the Massachusetts area, that there are several schools here that have been on strike going on 3 weeks now. The teachers have been striking, but that's kind of a side note. But yeah, a lot of it is teaching to the test, like the MCAS test that, high schoolers have to pass. And then in regards to the scores that, the students get, that reflects on the school. So you're just teaching so they pass a test. That's what it was like when I was in high school. And it kind of hasn't changed from what I understand, which is unfortunate. They need to bring back hunter safety courses at schools, make kids respect guns again. Interesting point, Capone. Not necessarily teach, but just discuss. I like all these suggestions that you guys are having because, again, everywhere has things a little bit different, but the things that you all seem to have the theme of is responsibility and respect. And I'm really enjoying these comments that you guys are bringing to this because, Yeah, it seems like a lot of us are on the same page. We might not have had the same experiences in regards to growing up with or without weapons and what was taught in school, depending on when we were all in high school. But yeah, I'm loving these comments that you guys are having in this case. I think it's definitely opening up a really important discussion. So thank you all for who are in the chat putting in what your thoughts are, because yeah, that they're really, really excellent. And if anybody's watching, but you're not in the chat, I hope you're getting something out of this kind of, end of the case conversation, but feel free we're a friendly bunch. Feel free to jump in the chat and kind of give your opinion on this too. And you don't have to agree with anybody in the chat. Not everybody agrees on it, and that's totally fine. James Watson, what the hell? Just message Beckham and y'all can complain about my, fashion choices behind the scenes. It's fine. He'll fill me in anyway. Let's see. PJ saying children need to learn plenty of relationship skills. That, to say that's the understatement of the year would be still putting it mildly. That is excellent. And not just children, young adults, teenagers. I mean, Christ's sakes, even people in their 20s, like, man. But I agree. Start at the basic, children. Todd, right? Coming in hot with that. Got the AK by my bed. All right. You are not to be messed with, sir. Renee saying it's the parents' responsibility to make sure kids learn what they need to know. It's all in their value system. If they have mental problems, hire a professional. School staff are not the answer. I'm going to give you a star for that. You hit on a lot of points right there. And I think that's very well said. It's great, Renee. All right, James is, okay, clarifying how I took something. No, my point is they teach too much critical race theory and stuff about gender. Okay. Again, where you are in Canada is, your school system's very, very different than here in the States. So good to know. And for all I know, it's like that here, and I just don't know because I don't have any kids in the school system. So I just got my cats. I think people need a license to be parents. Kane, I'm giving you a star. If I could give you 20 stars, I would for that. Mic drop to Kane. Mic drop to Kane. I'm sure words could not have been said. Bare bones is how James. Oh. I don't know if they still have it, but I think shooting rifles used to be in high school, like target practice. It wasn't like that. When I went to high school, there was nothing even close to that. But then again, like, I'm city, so that wouldn't really apply to where I am. But interesting. I didn't even think to me that would be something that could have been done in high school. Very interesting. Let's see. Renee is saying, because we homeschool, we are scheduled to take an active violence class next month. It teaches what to do when there is a violent act. We got CPR certified last week. Be a parent. That's excellent. That is excellent. You don't hear about that. You don't hear about that a lot here. So, and I do know people who homeschool, and I've never heard that they have to do something like that. I really wish they did. That sounds like a really critical piece and a really necessary one too. You had archery, Wolf. Interesting. See, like all that, I would have loved to do stuff like that. I would have loved to do that in high school. When I actually attended classes, let's be honest, it was, come senior year was when I kind of was like, I'm all set. I'm ready to go. Yeah. But the times where I did show up to class, I would have loved something like that. Let me correct myself. I did go to school the days I had psychology. favorite course. I mean, obviously I went to school and majored in that in college, but yes, those were the days when I had psychology. I did not. And what did my high school offer? Sociology too? I think so. Child psychology. I took that. Yeah, anytime my high school offered those, better believe not only was I in school that day, I was in class and usually in the front for that because that's what I like. That's my thing. Other than that, I just skip classes, which is funny because me now, like all like in school, oh my God, in college, like I was always early for class, sitting front row, had all my stuff out, like, oh my God, wicked, wicked school nerd, but loved every second of it. Loved every second of it. So yeah, high school Danny and college Danny, two very different people. Very different people. And the GPA is going to attest for that. Let's see. Back to y'all's statements here. As of 2018, there are reportedly more than 2,000 high school rifle. Really? I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. I wouldn't even known that there was like 5 of them. That is fascinating. That is really, really interesting. Thank you for looking that statistic up. Thank you, Todd. Let's see. You don't have to, but he misses out on the lockdown training that the other kids get. Oh, okay. I'm glad that's something that y'all are choosing to do, though. That is key. See, and I just think like how many people opt out of it, which the deadliest thing we had in school was how to throw a javelin. James, for Christ's sakes. Loved archery and zip. Y'all, I swear, y'all had great high school experience. Zip line. You had zip line in high school, Allison. That is wild. I definitely got the short end of the stick here with high school compared to you guys. That, oh my God. Obviously, there was like classes that had to be attended and you had to go and learn, but like, wow, those are really cool extra classes in high school. Let's see. K-Dog says, Larry the cable guy said he went to see a bud that was upset because his son had sex with a teacher. Then he found out he was homeschooled. Oh, Jesus Christ, K-Dog. Christ's sakes. Todd says, living remote, we can depend on speedy law enforcement response time. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, I think I'm caught up on all of your comments. This was an absolutely amazing discussion. I can say I personally learned a lot from all of you guys on this. So, and that's what this is about here. That's what this is all about. So does anybody, before we kind of wind things down, have any final comments or questions, either about the case that we covered tonight, Tyler Peterson, or, oh my God, I went full Boston right then, Tyler Peterson, or any extra comments or questions in regards to the conversation that we've been having in the chat. In regards to a show later this week, as me and Beckham talked about on Friday when we did our True Crime and Chill, with this being Thanksgiving weekend for us in the States, we're not sure in regards to timing, in regards to a True Crime and Chill. I really want to do one. It's a matter of when. I'll try my best to coordinate with Beckham, but again, based on, holiday family weekend schedules that, if we can't arrange it, I'll try to pop on for a little bit live with you guys, even if it's just a very chill show, just kind of like a post Thanksgiving, let's kind of hang and really just chit chat type of thing. So try my best to make that work. And we'll kind of go from there. Ninja Intruders, Capone. Oh, that has not been brought up in a little bit. So thank you for the reminder. Dill like beauty. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wonder what the percentage of true as a result of longevity. That is a fascinating question, Wolf. Good one. Very interesting. I would like to know that answer. All right. Now y'all are talking about food with Thanksgiving. So on that note, I hope everybody who does, again, who is in the States here, who does celebrate, has a very happy Thanksgiving. And for those who either don't celebrate, who are in the States or who are outside the States and you already had your Thanksgiving, if you're in Canada or whatnot, or if it's just an ordinary week for you, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Don't work too hard, especially, we're at that last week in November. So everybody enjoy that. Everybody remember, until next time, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. See you guys later this week. Bye.